If you can lift this gold bar, it's yours. This is just one of many impossible challenges included in this video, starting with the easiest of them all, the money booth. Arguably, one of the quickest ways to score yourself handfuls of cash. But if you don't have your technique down pat, you could end up swiping at thin air and walking away with nothing more than spare change. You could aim for the wads of bills that accumulate in the corners, or you could cheat by standing on the jackpot prize before the machine even starts up. But it turns out, the best tactic is to just open your arms and let the cash come to you.
Oh my gosh.
And while this might be the easiest one on here, this next one is much harder than it looks. Put a dumbbell in front of any guy, and we just can't help ourselves. It's like we're hardwired to lift things just to prove that we can. So when you set up a 330-pound golden dumbbell and offer $100 to anyone who can lift it one-handed, you get a line. You wouldn't think that hanging from a horizontal bar for 100 seconds would be that hard, but it's certainly difficult enough to offer $100 to anyone who can pull it off. The majority of people start off strong, but after a while, the lactic acid starts to set in and the arms begin to burn. Sweat starts to make your palms slippery, and before you know it, you're dropping off with just seconds to go.
6, 5, 4.
Seriously, the amount of people that fall off within the last few seconds is crazy. Now, there's a lot of people that'll tell you that this is a carnival scam and that the bar starts to rotate with just seconds to go. But people do win this challenge, and some make it look embarrassingly easy. But if you think winning $100 for 100 seconds seems too easy to be true, wait till you see what's in store at the end of the video. But until then, that makes it look easy. But what if the punishment for failing a challenge was much scarier than just getting wet? Ah, the gap bridge. A nightmare scenario for anyone with even a mild fear of heights. It's not the actual distance between the bridge's planks that's the problem. It's looking down at the sheer drop right beneath you. For some, it's being so scared that your legs turn to jelly. For others, they just can't take one more step and have to turn back for safety. But I think we can all agree that the missing final plank looks pretty painful. The trick with this challenge is balance, and of course, balls of steel to make it to the end. And while high-altitude parkour might be the adrenaline rush for some people, this next challenge has to be seen to be believed. Everyone loves bees in theory, but some people would rather enjoy them safely. Swinging violently from side to side, participants flock to test their skills without getting wet. Most people adopt a wide-legged stance and try to lean with the bridge as it sways from side to side. But there are always a few who can't change their center of gravity and fall off almost immediately. But then there are the show-offs, the ones who play life on easy mode. They figured out a way to turn this challenge into a dance routine. But this isn't the only challenge that has you holding on for dear life. Sometimes you just gotta grab life by the horns. If you aren't at least a cowboy or wrestling bears for a living, there's a good chance you'll end up like 95% of contestants, on your back or slammed against the inflatable barrier. But what happens if they replace a robot bull with a real one? Ignore them and simply run around them. The catch is, if they do move, they become target number 1. From standing completely still to having to move super fast, this challenge has the need for speed. Disappearing platforms are hardly a new concept. They've been stressing gamers out for decades. But this real-life version of your favorite side-scroller requires some actual athletic ability in order to complete successfully. If you don't have the speed to move to the next platform fast enough, you'll end up going for an early morning bath. And while walking on water definitely might not be a new concept, it's cool that us mortals can now do it too. From one slippery situation to another, this next one is close to impossible. The premise is super simple. Run at full speed up this pole and grab the flag perched at the very end. The only catch, it's been covered in slip. These cadets have to pass one final challenge before moving on to the next level of their training. To pass this, there's one rule and one rule only. Don't look back. The catch is, no matter how loud the tank is, no matter how much hot air you feel in the back of your neck, you are not allowed to turn around. If those cadets haven't already soiled their pants, they're about to do so in this next one. There's one challenge that every Marine has nightmares about: the infamous mud run. Forced to drop to their stomachs and crawl through a filthy, cold, and wet obstacle course. There's nothing glamorous about this training tradition, with mud that extends up to 4 feet deep. Each movement is an exhausting toil both on the mind and body. And to make things worse, the mud run is a team challenge, meaning that if anyone collapses due to exhaustion, the entire team has to circle back and retrieve their fallen man. And while nobody wants to be that person, I'm pretty sure being a participant in this next one is much worse. Not every competition is centered around a cash prize.